YouTube, it's Brian Phillips, all new from E-flite. This is the Ultra Micro Extreme Eratix. Super cool, super light. As you can see, really, really light. Smart technology, telemetry, all those good things. And we're gonna fly today on 2S 300 milliamp hour batteries. We're just gonna take off wherever we feel like. But I think I'm gonna just start right here, so. There it is. As you can see, it's pretty easy. And if you have no wind, it's even better. We have super duper light winds. We did some indoor flying with this. And you know, you can fly it like a helicopter if you want, or you can fly it like an airplane. It just depends on what your taste is. The beauty of this thing is it's so dang light that you can really get away with murder, even if you're not a very good 3D pilot. Now, one thing you want to watch out for is that if you fly on a windy day, you need to be prepared to fly it. And that's the only thing I want to tell you about, because it does take a little bit of skill still, just not quite as much as the big brothers, which is pretty cool. And yes, you can tool around and fly it just like a regular general aviation plane if you decide that's what you want to do. And it's really fun and it's easy flying. And it's really light on its feet. Obviously, you can go really slow, which is one of the best ways to fly. Look at the moon, that's so cool.
That's cool.
One of the best way to fly these little 3D planes, these profile planes, are to die for. There's the sun, finally got it in the sun. And you can tell I'm picking up just a little bit more wind up there than I was hoping for. But absolutely gorgeous, super symmetrical behavior in pretty much any attitude, bringing it real low because we have an airplane that's close. And what we're gonna do is we'll just keep it right down here about 6-7 feet off the ground. I think we should be okay.
If he's that low, we're in trouble.
If he's that low, we need to bend over and kiss our butts goodbye. But as you can see, look at the thing. Oh yeah, and by the way, one cool trick we did with this plane that we're not really probably supposed to do with this plane is we went ahead and set up flaperons.
Oh, that's right.
So here's takeoff flaperons, now landing flaperons, and you can really, really slow it down then because it just has like no requirement for forward speed. You can obviously just hover it and do whatever you want in that regard. But I definitely am gonna tell you, if you get this thing and you don't feel like you can handle 3D, you can handle 3D with this thing because it is just super, super, super easy. Even flat turns, as you can see, doesn't matter which direction, upside down, inside out, it doesn't care, it doesn't know. It flies almost exactly the same up or down. The only thing about it is you just gotta make sure you don't hit stuff because it is very delicate, okay? So just remember, when you fly a super delicate, super light plane, you have to be prepared not to crash into walls, which is typical of most planes, I've learned.
Yeah, most
crashing
of them
into
don't do walls
is
well.
generally not a good idea. Now, I'm not gonna say that I didn't crash into walls during the filming of this video, but what I will tell you is that if you crash into walls, if you do it right, you won't totally destroy it. You'll just have to work a little bit, a little CA here and there. And keep in mind, this is super light EPS that is reinforcing basically a covering film. And so when you go to fix it, just be a little careful. Don't use kicker. Even if you're using foam safe, you gotta be a little bit careful because if you kick the reaction too fast, you might melt the foam. I've done that before, not on this plane. I had to fix one landing gear. I busted out on a really hard landing. But as you can see, you can't even tell. So one of my favorite ways to fly 3D is with a really well-balanced, super symmetrical, easy to fly, whoa, 3D plane, just like this. Right over the tops of the trees. Watch this, look at this, that's just crazy. Gotta love it, it's so much fun. Now, of course, I'm supposed to try to catch this according to my my best delicacies. I assume that everybody is gonna try to catch this plane. But all I'm gonna say is I've always had trouble kind of coming off of the sticks to catch these little guys because they're so fast to respond once you slow them down. And so what I might try to do is I'm gonna take a landing right on this trampoline. We've done that before too. Now, there is no thrust reverse on this plane, just to be clear. That's one of the things that we don't get on the Ultra Micros, and we're getting a critically low alarm, as you can hear the telemetry screaming at me. So I'm just gonna bring it right back over. Camera crew, you wanna make 4 steps over to your left. That'd be great, just in case I have to punch out of this.
Okay.
Should be fine though. As you can see,
There
you
we
don't
go.
need much movement. And obviously you don't need a 300-foot runway for it because we took what, like 3 inches to land
Yeah,
that?
maybe.
Now, also, I just want to talk a little bit about the battery, okay? So if you watch our Unbox build radio setup, you'll see lots of more details about it. But since this is an Ultra Micro, we're gonna go ahead and swap batteries for you and show you exactly what this is all about. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. If you're buying this plane and you don't have the older style micro pH connector like this, which some people call them 3-pin connectors, and some people just call them micro pH connectors because that's what that is. I just want to make sure you get the right one. So we will link to a special charger adapter that's going to allow you to go into your EC3. Now, I hate putting Velcro on these packs because it always seems to be on the wrong side. So what I did is I took this little bit of tape and a little bit of shelf liner, and I just slid that on. Now I'll slide in my new battery, and I'll just kind of bring up that little excess. And I like doing it this way. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can just put Velcro on there. It does come with Velcro, and the Velcro will work just fine. But I do really like being able to slide these things in here, and it really does make it a lot easier to locate the battery exactly where I want, because with that shelf liner in there, it will kind of hold that battery, and you can shift this up and down the length of your battery. So if you want to make it a little bit more tail heavy, you can just let it slide down. But I do feel like, for what it's worth, super fun plane. We'll go ahead and take off, wheels up, wheels down kind of style. When you go to bind this, there's a red and blue light that will start to flash. So if you're seeing that, it's because it hasn't found your transmission here. I'm gonna clear my timer, throttle cuts off, and look at those landing flaps. I also have a mix here where I have flap mix. So we'll go ahead and take off and see how that helps. As you can see, it changes the attitude quite a bit, but you can fly that thing super slow. And yes, this does have safe. So if you want to fly it with safe on, you can still use safe. So here's safe. I'm going to come out of those 2 weird modes, but as you can see, it's just very nonchalant, very easy to fly. It doesn't tip itself all the way over. And even with full stick inputs, it's going to limit your bank angles and your pitch and roll. So the only thing you got to watch out for is crap in your yard and camera crews. But you can still make really nice flat turns. I'll go up here where it's a little easier to see because you have darn near full rudder authority. And isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It just almost looks fake. I love it. So cool. So now, of course, coming out of safe, then you can go back to relaxing into all sorts of crazy 3D stuff. Tons of power for being 2S. It's kind of surprising just how powerful it really is. And it does good even if you're not a good pilot. And see, that's where I am. I'm not a real great 3D pilot. And so as a result, I don't tend to challenge myself as much as some of you guys might. And that's okay, because everybody has their own comfort level when it comes to flying RC. So if you are 3D challenged like Brian Phillips RC, then get this little thing and have a good old time. You'll enjoy it. It'll be fun. Even if you're not that good, you'll still have a good time. And if you're looking for something that you can fly around and putt around in a gymnasium-sized outbuilding, or maybe at your local church or your indoor flight club, whatever it is, this is a great option because it's just so dang easy to enjoy indoors. Finally, some clouds. Look at that.
I'm just thinking about people that might want to get the bigger Eratix or even the SWS like next spring, and they want to practice this winter indoors somewhere, you know, and just
hone your skills a little bit. And that's what's so crazy about this thing is it's just it's fun to fly. It pushes your limits just a little bit if you're a regular general aviation flyer. Like I tend to be a scale flying aficionado, if you want to call me something. Okay, that's what I love doing most. But that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy a good 3D experience once in a while too. But also, at the same time, just because it's not my favorite thing doesn't mean I don't do it. And I know a lot of you guys are the same way. So this model, if you buy it and you put your transmitter in the case, you could put like 15 batteries in there, charger, and for Brian and Megan Phillips, you can also put all your camera gear in there too. It's crazy. So those little UMX boxes just come in super duper handy. And by the way, if you guys can't tell, there is a tree right here. In case you wonder, you can't probably see it hardly on camera.
Hardly.
I'm just gonna show you. And then there's wind that's pushing me. I'm trying to show you the tree and the wind keeps fighting me.
You can barely see it.
You guys see that tree there?
In front of the white tree.
Stick.
Yeah.
And so that's why, in case you're wondering why I'm so careful over here, is because there is a tree that's right next to me. And that's the reason why I'm being so cautious in my flight performance today. Because I don't want to end up in that stick. So much fun. Oh, and by the way, if you're not comfortable landing on something as simple as a trampoline, you can land on your basketball court. You can land by catching it in the air. It's not that hard to catch. You can also land it in grass. It won't hurt anything. In fact, I'll show you that real quick. Okay, I was probably a little low on power for that. But what we're gonna do is we'll show you just a regular grass hops landing. Now, you're not gonna roll out at all. You're gonna basically come in here. Camera crew to my left, please. Keep coming until you're right next to me. Thank you. Okay, so what you'll do is you just fly it in like you're gonna land anything else. Just understanding that you're gonna hit the ground and it's gonna wanna tip and it's not gonna hurt anything. Just full up elevator, boom, there it is. And you literally won't even hit a blade of grass because the prop is so small. And right now, of course, our grass isn't super well kept because it's sort of the end of the growing season around here.
Yep.
And we have a mutiny from our robot over there, it looks like. See the robot?
No, it's...
I'm just kidding. It's not mutinying. It's just not been called the mow. So if you guys want a really enjoyable experience, the Eratix is super fun. I love ultra micros. It's one of my first real experiences in RC was the Sport Cub S UMX. Okay, so ultra micro extreme is exactly what it sounds like. Ultra, it's micro, and it's extreme. Extreme meaning it's basically gonna give you a full hobby grade experience, only small. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy this particular plane. Plus, with this pop-off prop, you can actually save your prop. We will demo crashing it once at least. Now we can just do a little bit of slow flight upside down. As you can see, it's feeling quite stable, tons of power. Whoa! Oh no! Let's see how it did. Oh no, I crashed. Oops, I did it again. But we're gonna show you why it's not a big deal. Because check this out, look at the prop. Camera crew, grab it. Yes, it survived to see another day because it has a pop-off prop. Okay, throttle hold is on. We're just gonna re-secure the battery and we're just gonna go right back on it, just like this. Hold the motor, slide this in between the openings, and then twist it on, and you're ready to rock and roll. Oh, that was pretty awesome, actually. Okay, sweet. So now let's take back off. Okay. Absolutely no problems, guys. Obviously, I did that crash on purpose just to demo that product.
Right.
It was not because I'm a bad pilot at all. And then just to show you, the damage that I caused was right here. And I just glued this back down. No big deal, it was super easy. It's a very, very light duty airframe. So don't sit here and use like a heat gun to try to tighten this up or anything because it'll crush itself. But what an awesome, fun plane. And I would highly suggest you consider it. By the way, like I said, we will show unboxing, unbox build radio sub just like normal, but we're gonna show all that stuff stuffed into the box. I couldn't believe it. You can have 2 regular programmable transmitters inside the box at the same time, which is pretty sweet actually. because it's a pain to store some of this stuff, especially transmitters. And it protects the sticks. I couldn't believe it. It was so much fun. So we'll go through the entire radio setup that shows all the steps necessary to set up AS3X safe and make sure all the expo and all the controls are exactly the way the factory intended. So check out the Unbox build radio setup for that. Should be part of this video. Or is it gonna be a separate video? I can't remember.
No, it'll be part of this video.
It'll be part of this video because it's an ultra micro.
Yep.
But super fun, guys. The Eratix from E-flite. Check it out. If you want to support Brian Phillips RC, one of the best things you can do is smash the like button right now, click the bell for notifications, and just watch the content. But if you want to help support us financially, we have a number of different ways, not the least of which is the best to buy these aircraft from the links in the video description below. It helps us to bolster our relationships with the companies that we work with to bring you guys content just like this, but it also earns us a few dollars in commission. So thanks for doing that when you do. Same thing with transmitters, batteries, chargers, all that stuff that you see anytime on Brian Phillips RC. But if you want to check out a competitive offering, you're not sold on this, head over to brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me, and you can sort by type or by brand or affiliate that we worked with in the past. And then you can see exactly what we had to say about another plane that might be in a similar category, okay? Admittedly, there's not a ton of profile planes, so you're not gonna find tons of comparisons to this because it is very small and it's really well done. And one of my favorite things about it is I'm using my standard transmitter that I can learn muscle memory with, which is part of the reason why Camera Crew was mentioning you could get this as a good trainer. So, other ways to support us, as always, Patreon for monthly support, YouTube members for monthly support, YouTube super thanks, and then PayPal. If you want to send us a few bucks, that's cool. We appreciate it. But at the same time, that's not what we're all about. We're just trying to sell experiences like flying, okay? Get out of the chair, into the air, come back from a hiatus, or start today. That's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna help get you right there. So stay tuned, so much more. We're gonna show some more clips. Not sure what order you're gonna see them, but they're all good, and hopefully they're gonna help you make your decision to pull the trigger on this particular plane. It's a blast. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. And we're just gonna take off and do this thing. Here it is, guys. So much fun. This is an awesome, really fun, really pretty easy to fly, beginner-esque style 3D plane. You do not have to fly 3D with it to have fun, but I can definitely tell you that it is very capable, it is very fun, and I am not a very good 3D pilot. So for those of you that are curious about it, check out the flight. We're gonna do 1, 2, or 3 of them, and then we're probably also gonna try to do a little bit of outside if we can get some help from Mother Nature. And by the way, I was gonna say, if you're afraid of flying this thing, it also comes equipped with safe. Obviously, AS3X is working overtime as I go to fly this, but I'm just gonna turn on safe for you here and we'll show you that. I'm also gonna go ahead and deploy the flaperons to the full landing setting, and I'm gonna mix the elevator and just show you how crazy this is.
Okay.
Look how slow you can run this thing. So if you guys are concerned about being a beginner and being able to fly this thing, I just want you to see how slow and simple it can be to fly. It is incredible how easy it is if you want it to be easy. Now, coming out of safe, I'll go ahead and leave my elevator tie and my flaperons on. And even with the flaperons deployed, full landing flaperons, look at this thing. It's still got tons of roll authority, tons of pitch authority, and tons of yaw authority, which gives you lots of confidence if you are brand new in the RC addiction. My suggestion is it still might be a little bit of a reach, but some of you just won't take no for an answer when it comes to 3D, and I understand and appreciate these things because I'm one of those people. Now, out of the landing flaps, and we're just in a regular flight mode here, and as you can see, it's still very slow and very cool. And what we're gonna do is we'll just go ahead and hammerhead it here for just about 30 seconds. Or 10, or 5, whatever that was. It was pretty awesome. And by the way, if you're looking for an aircraft that's gonna get you into the air without a ton of 3D skill, this definitely is a little bit easier, even still, than the bigger Eratix. And when I say the bigger Eratix, I mean the 1 meter. Is it 1 meter?
I can't remember if it's 1 or 1.1.
It might be 1.1. Either way, it looks exactly the same. It flies a lot the same, but the difference is it's just so light and so agile. And I must say, I really appreciate and enjoy the way that this thing flies, because you can do all the things you could do with the big brother, only it's so much easier. And you can bring it with you all in one case and just really enjoy the trip. I even will show you at the end of this video, putting the NX-10 into the box with the aircraft. So if you guys are brand new to the hobby and you want something that's gonna give you all the stuff you want, it's right here. Look no further than the UMX Eratix. It is quite fun and quite fulfilling, as also reasonably priced and available right now. Check out the links in the video description below. And yes, we'll do a landing quick and show you how easy it is. Guys, easy as that. All right, so he's almost taller than me, so we're gonna let him try. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, I want you to take off like this and just show how easy it is, okay?
Yep.
So give it throttle and then I'll let go.
Yep.
Fly it. You really gotta manage your throttle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never flown it before.
Isn't it easy to hover, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It feels very precise, and yet it's still freaky D when you got a giant iron column right next to you, right?
Yeah.
So now you're venturing to the other side like a crazy person.
Yes.
So now the flaps will slow it down a lot. If you decide you want to try it, it's kind of strangely weird. It really slows it down and it makes it fun. But just remember, inverted is not even when you have your flaps on. And upside down is super easy when it's so symmetrical. And you've got 50% expo, so you are rarely hitting the end of your stroke on any of the controls, unless you really, really move that stick.
Yeah, it's definitely a tighter space than I'm used to.
Yeah, no kidding.
I didn't quite expect it to feel so tight.
Yeah, it feels tight, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like, oh, this is tons of room. It should be super easy.
Yep.
And then immediately you're like, wow, I've used up that space quick.
Yeah, and this is a slope lane.
It can be. Get your angle of attack more steep and slow it down that way. Use more rudder. Coordinate your turns. And remember, your rudder will get you out of hot water really nicely if you need it to. If you're on a knife edge, you can always rudder out of the problem. You can do a flat turn vertically with just the rudder and throttle.
Yeah.
So see if you could do a flat, like a circle all the way around. Just do it until it's so steep that it wants to stall, okay? Like go, you circle in the middle of the court. See if you can go that tight. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it doesn't fall. It's crazy. And knife edges are like nothing. It's so easy.
I was a little close, I just hid behind the pillar.
Yeah, it does. It's funny. You lose it for like 1 millisecond and then you feel completely out of control for 1 millisecond.
The plane feels good though.
It feels really good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now I should warn you, you're getting your low voltage warnings when you get into the throttle hard, so maybe relax your throttle just a little bit.
Yeah.
And see if you can slow down your actual forward movement.
There's landing flaps.
Oh yeah. Use your rudder.
Wow, that's weirdly floaty.
I know. But it's awesome though that you can slow it down so much.
Yeah.
And you can go at such a strange steep angle of attack. So compared to like the extra 300, you know, it feels totally different, right?
Yeah, it's very different. It's a lot lighter.
And you flew the original Eratix, right?
I don't think so. I flew
you never
that blue biplane.
The Foresight.
The Foresight.
Yeah, which is similar. Yeah. Feels similar to that.
I really like the Foresight. I just feel like all the extra wing fences really help when you get in upset attitudes. I feel like this one's a little bit more pure. It feels a little bit more like the NG and other 3D planes that we've had that are higher performance, even though it's a small plane.
Well, I mean, I haven't crashed and I haven't accidentally landed yet.
Well, I did both of those things, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, I heard
We already got the footage. So don't add to it, please. Just for grins, I want you to do a touch and go down the length of the basketball court, because it's very strange how fun it is to actually touch and go with a plane that you don't really want to land. I'll keep going. Doesn't it get weird in ground effect?
Yeah.
It hops up like all at once. But you can drag the wings, which is really fun. We don't ever do that with our planes.
Yeah.
But even when you drag the wings, it's got such a huge control surface that you can overwhelm that little tiny bit of pressure that's exuded onto the airframe. That is a 5-minute timer for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry at all about it. But you are hitting that critically low a couple of times, so you might want to think about calling it here.
Yeah. I'll bring it in and land right in front of us.
Yeah, good idea.
There's takeoff flaps.
It's pretty awesome though, right?
Yeah, I
It's
like
fun.
it.
It's super light. It's easy to fly. It's definitely got some biting characteristics, but it's mostly forgiving.
Yeah.
And the fact that the prop comes off really easy and goes back on really easy without breaking makes me feel better as a not very good 3D pilot. And I think that if there was breakage like we experienced here today in this one spot, I think it's gonna go back together really easy and it's gonna be super, super quick.
Yeah.
So awesome plane, really cool experience. If you're a bad pilot like me, you might wanna throw a little CA into your kit because we put all the stuff in our kit and that includes the NX10. We'll show that. I'm not sure what order you're gonna see it in, but guys, if you wanna help support Brian Phillips RC and the things we do for the RC community, smash the like button, click the bell to subscribe, and then obviously buy these things from the links in the video description below. And if you don't wanna do that, you wanna support us in different ways, we have Patreon for monthly support. We have PayPal for one-time donations, as well as YouTube members and YouTube super thanks, all of which are appreciated, but the best way to support RC is to get one of these and fly it. So do that. Check out links in the video description below. Thanks for watching and come back for more. All right, so one of the biggest features that we didn't really have a chance to talk about is just how nice these boxes are with Ultra Micro Extreme products. Look at this. Guys, it is so nice. I have my NX10 trapped in here, no pressure on my sticks. And by the way, there's actually room for a second one if you want right here, but then it's gonna move your throttle stick up, so just be careful. And then remember, this is gonna get trapped by the lid, which is really nice. We have room for a couple of batteries here. We have room for even more here, more here, more here, and more here. So you could have a ton of batteries. I think I brought like 8 with us. And then over here, I just simply added a little bit of foam to give me cover for this, which is our charger if we wanted to use the S155. And just keep in mind though, you do need this special plug. So if you are gonna buy an S155, which I'd highly recommend, this will do up to 4S. So it's gonna handle pretty much every UMX, but just get this special cable. We'll link to all this stuff in the video description below. And then we even had room for all our camera gear and mics inside of this pocket. It was amazing. So when you're considering an Ultra Micro, remember there's a lot of choices out there and we have seen very few that do such a good job of actually making everything work. And look how simple this is. We did a little extra with our extra packaging, but at the end of the day, if you were motivated, you could bring all the stuff you need for an Ultra Micro and possibly a couple other planes right in this package. and really make for a good user experience. And that's part of the reason why we love reviewing these products from E-flite. They've thought of all the details, and all the while, you can have a good time doing it. So guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Unbox is gonna be next. If you wanna support us, Patreon for monthly support, PayPal for one-time donations, YouTube members, and YouTube one-time donations through Super Thanks. We appreciate all of them, but at the end of the day, the best way to support us is buy awesome products like the Eratix Ultra Micro, or maybe you want the Eratix Sport Wood series, which is slightly more. But whatever it is that trips your trigger, we will be here to help support you in it at Brian Phillips RC. So check out brianphillipsrc.com or bprc.me, and you can compare and contrast all the different contraptions that come out that might wet your whistle. So stay tuned. Unbox next. YouTube, Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this new thing right now. It's brand new to us, brand new to everybody. And so we're super excited to be bringing it to you right now. So we're gonna unbox it, we're gonna show you what it's worth, and see if you like it. So this is an early sample. So you may notice that our box is a little bit unmarked.
Oh, is it?
So don't be surprised.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so it's white.
Yep.
Yours won't be white. Ours is white. Come on. Come on. So this is an Ultra Micro Extreme, and I'm just gonna keep hiding it from you. You ready?
Yes.
So here goes nothing. This is a UMX Eratix. Oh! Unbox from Brian Phillips RC. Okay, so what comes in the box? Of course, yours will have like brand specific markings on the outside. Ours is going to just have the airplane because this is a product sample. So we're super excited to be bringing you this. Very, very light.
Wow.
Very, very exciting.
Cool.
So this thing is a profile plane, just like the bigger brother or bigger sister Eratix, except that it's super small and super light. And this thing is it's gonna be very capable. And my only fear is I really wanna try flying it inside here, but I am not sure that that's gonna be the best move. I think it'll probably fly in here just fine. Look at the control surfaces, they're gigantic.
Wow.
So this of course is a 3D plane, so it is by design supposed to be incredible in terms of its control characteristics. So I have a hard time believing that we couldn't fly it inside this space, but I just don't want to destroy it because it's obviously an early release and I want to see it in its full true colors. A couple things to note: ball link connections to all the gigantic surfaces, supports here. We've got the multi-purpose UMX brick, which is going to have the brushless ESC built in, all smart technology. Comes with safe and AS3X built in, which is pretty cool. And of course, this is bind and fly. We do have some squishy tires. Not that they're really, you know, super squishy. There's just not much to them. And it does drag here, so they've got a plastic reinforcement. But as you can see, when you hold this up to the light, you can see all the surfaces have lightning holes throughout. So this thing will definitely be a gymnasium flyer, an indoor flyer. I'm just not sure I'm comfortable flying it in this room. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do our standard unbox build radio setup, and Ultra Micros are usually quite quick. Now, one thing that comes in this box is a little bit of Velcro. It's taped to the side of the box here. And so this Velcro can be used to help secure your battery, which we'll talk about next after we show you that there is a manual that's included in this. And this bag, you can just leave it there.
Okay.
This bag will come with your product as well, and it's gonna give you some different Velcro choices. Ours being early samples, sometimes they're a little different, come around, and we're gonna show. This is the battery that they recommend. It's a 2S with the micro pH connector, okay? Now, there is some potential for confusion here, and I just wanna make sure you understand. This is the micro pH, not the JST connector, okay? This might actually be a GST connection, but it's a micro pH 2S balance lead, okay? You need to have this type of charging cable adapter or build one that's gonna take you to a Hextronic style plug like this for a balance plug, as well as in parallel going to the IC3 connector or whatever your charger accepts, okay? This is not a smart battery, but it has what looks like smart branding, okay? So when you have a bag that says smart technology, it can be a little bit confusing. This is a smart technology bag. This is not a smart battery, even though it is packaged and branded in similar spectrum fashion, okay? So let's charge this battery right now, show you how this works. We have done a million batteries like this over the years. So the way this works is that you have your main discharge lead, goes in here, it plugs in, there is no battery detected because there's no battery hooked up. And then this goes into the balance port as though your battery did have a regular Hextronics balance lead. Gosh, it's giving me trouble sliding that in there. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. There it goes. I think I just had a little chunk of plastic on the edge. Okay, then this is keyed. It only goes one way, like this. And once you're plugged in, then you can see it populates the screen with all the standard rigmarole for a regular 2S dumb battery. So you'd press play, you would set your current to whatever's reasonable. So like this is 3 and it's 30C, so it's 300 amps, 30C, so you could go maybe at the fastest 0.9 amps, okay? But I'm just gonna charge it at 0.3 amps, which would be 1C. Go up a little higher, please. Like this. And we'll go to start. And then that's gonna start charging here, show us the status of expected charge time, as well as the cell balancing, as well as eventually internal resistance, which is gonna populate here, okay? So that's how you do that. This battery is gonna charge on its own. Now you can still do dual channel, but just keeping in mind that you do need to have that adapter in order to actually charge these batteries. You'll wanna make sure that you work through your own specific needs. We will link to this adapter and this battery so that you can easily find them. So keep in mind, you have to have the battery to fly the plane, but you don't have to have a smart battery. You don't have to have this battery. You can fly with any other battery you've got so long as you can make it work, and it's 2S, okay? So this has a Hextronics lead. This has a GST plug, okay? It's a competitive brand. This has the same style Hextronics lead. That one would work. But if you get up into these 2S batteries that have the higher C ratings, that have the JST plug, you're gonna find that you have the Hextronics plug instead of the micro pH plug here, okay? So you guys see what I'm talking about? There is a difference in connector. So that's why we point this out, so that you understand there is a difference. And so viability matters, okay? And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna link to the viable pack that's gonna work for this particular application, but just understanding that over the years, we've had a million different adapters and a million different charging techniques that we have used. And we have built some of them, we have bought some of them we have modified over the years to do lots of different balance charging just like this. And all of them have been viable for different batteries. And this is one of those times where you need to make sure you have the correct adapter. Otherwise, you're gonna have a plane that you can't fly, okay? So we bring that to your attention early in the Unbox build radio setup. The other thing is I have these little plastic sleeves that I make, and I slide them over the packs, and then there's a little Velcro on there, which makes for a really easy setup if you want to have a reusable pack that's not going to require Velcro being attached. Because my experience with ultra micro batteries in particular is that if I have Velcro attached to it, it's always in the wrong spot. Whether it needs to be attached here, or some other stupid weird way, I found that these sleeves generally work. But just keep in mind, when it comes to retention, sometimes that leaves a little something to be desired depending on the pack style, okay? So you just need to use your best judgment on whether or not you think you can get away with it or not. So, but for the sake of testing, you'll notice I'm just grabbed one of my run-of-the-mill batteries. I didn't grab the one that I'm charging right now, because then we can do our next setup, which is gonna be radio setup. Now, of course, radio setup, this is a bind and fly plane. So I don't know if this one is dual protocol or not. I'm pretty sure it's just DSMX, but we'll find out here and answer that question shortly. In our case, we're gonna be using the NX10, and you're probably thinking to yourself, if you follow along with Brian Phillips RC, you might be saying to yourself, I thought you said you were gonna put up an NX8. Well, yes, but we keep finding old models that we can eliminate, and so I wanna keep as many models on one plane as possible. And so for that reason, we're gonna go ahead and set up the NX10. And I just gotta tell the people, look how perfect my screen looks. That is not a new NX10.
Nope.
I'm going into the garbage, hon. I'm gonna see if I can find the thing I just threw away.
I think it's out here.
It's out there?
I think you threw it out here.
Okay, so thankfully I have a new liner.
Yeah.
So when we were doing this video, we were getting ready, and I said, why do I have this stupid scratches on my screen? That's because I had a screen protector on this for the last
3 years.
200 models.
Yeah.
Okay. And there were wear marks on it.
Yeah.
I had a little peel down right there, and I was afraid I was going to damage it. I finally peeled it off, and oh my goodness, it looks glorious.
Just in time to.
Just in time to move on to the next transmitter.
Yes.
So anyway, and we were taking a minute to clean the scrolly wheel with alcohol again, because it has been acting up a little bit with age. And so if there's anything we found about these transmitters that leave us a little bit high and dry, it would be that, okay? So that all being said, the plane looks like it's pretty exciting, and so we're gonna have to set up a model. So let's go through the process of doing that setup right now. So as you can see, it says 255, and it says acro. That's because in order to clear the model memory, I clicked, scrolled down to system setup, disconnected RF, and did model select, and I scrolled all the way until I found one that I liked. I highlighted it, okay? Then I went to model type, and I changed the model type, which then reset all of the information about that particular model. But one step before that, I actually went to model utilities. Where's model utilities? And then I went to, where is sort model list. And then I selected the one I wanted to move, and I moved it all the way to what I called the top of the list. My camera crew called the bottom of the list. That's the top of the list, okay? So now when I go to work on a particular model, it's in pseudo chronological order. They're not exact, but they're close enough, okay? So that's how I've been doing it. You guys may not run into that same circumstance, but we do like to show how we handle stuff on our transmitters, because that's one of the reasons why people come to Brian Phillips RC, so you can get a half an hour video turned into 3, okay? So we've got this Velcro that we will store in case we need that. And we find that this doesn't work out, but there is a model that comes, or we've got a regular product manual here. So we'll open this. Required, let's see what it says for dual protocol. I don't know if it's dual protocol or not. I can't tell yet. Okay, so we're just gonna jump through here and see if it says. Okay, so NX setup, DX setup, IX setup. Obviously we'll be doing the NX setup over here. So if you need to pause and copy along, you can. Otherwise we'll come back to it and we'll work our way through the ranks. They're suggesting a low rates at 70 with expo of 30, and then a high rates of, what is the high rates?
100 and then
100
expo of
and
50.
expo of 50, okay. So we may end up following along that setup just to see how it feels. Obviously we'll set up AS3X and safe. And then as we work through, the binding procedure, here we go. So show this. So it looks like any full range DSM2 DSMX transmitter. So it doesn't look like it's actually dual protocol, which is fine. I don't care. I just wanted to know. So it does not appear to be dual protocol. From the leading edge, we're 72 millimeters back. So 72 millimeters back looks to put it right in the middle of that first cross mechanism there. So I might, let's measure that real quick and just see where it actually lies.
Because that's gonna be harder to mark than normal.
Well, we're just gonna basically make a dot on it. It's not gonna be that big a deal. But the center of gravity on a 3D plane is very much subject to personal preference, in my opinion, okay? So millimeters, zeroed out. What are we supposed to be at?
72 to 80.
So for it's 72 to 80, what? That is so not correct. 72 millimeters to 80 millimeters?
It's not even that big.
72 to 80 millimeters? That is not correct. That has to be a typographical error. That is totally...
It says CG is 76 plus or minus 4.
76? 76? So you're saying the center of gravity is way back there?
I don't know.
That's not what they show in the picture.
No.
Not even close. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Because we're not sure, we're not gonna mark it.
Okay.
That looks to be erroneous.
Well, and the battery doesn't have a lot of flexibility on where it can go.
Yeah, it does. If you have Velcro, you can adjust where the battery is. You can adjust it all the way up and down this little area, okay?
Yeah.
So my concern is we don't actually know, so we're just gonna say that looks to be potentially a misprint.
Okay.
And keep in mind, these are early samples, so hopefully they'll have the misprint fixed by the time you guys see yours. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to build a model profile, but I was just trying to see if this actually would pull the model out of the receiver. Looks like there's about 14 pages of information, 15. Oh, look, it's a 12 pole motor if we need that for telemetry, okay?
Okay.
12 pole outrunner, and then it gets into the compliance information. So about this much of the manual, not too bad. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if it pulls the model out first before we go through all the trouble, okay? So we will be prepared to bind. Okay, throttle stick is down. Okay. I'm just gonna get this in a position where I can do this safely without having to worry about getting cut by the small prob. I'm gonna scroll down to bind. See how it started going to the red and blue? Okay, then I go to bind.
DSMX 22 milliseconds, telemetry.
Okay,
Bind complete.
so now we're gonna see if it asks me to pull a file from it. And it's saying it's not charged for flight, which is okay. So as you can see, it's moving, it's working. Then I'm just gonna hit back. We're gonna acknowledge this telemetry warning. Hit cancel. Then I'm gonna scroll down to telemetry, auto config, yes, see what happens. I think it's already kind of gone through that once. Okay, so it evidently got what it needed. So I'm gonna scroll over to the right. Okay, you can see it's not charged for flying. So I'm gonna go to audio events, telemetry warnings, smart battery, startup volts, I don't care about. Overcharge, I don't care about. Imbalance, I also don't care about. And it wouldn't know how to do that anyway. But smart ESC, let's see what it says. Poles, 12. Okay. And per cell voltage, 3.4, good enough for me. Is there thrust reverse? I don't see it on here, which is fine. We don't tend to have that on these products with ultra micros, so I'm not super worried about that. So first thing I want to do is set up throttle cut. So throttle cut is going to be set to switch H. And I'm going to make sure, and look, this monitor went to the expanded again. Like, I don't understand why it does that by default. So just scroll all the way to, oh, you could show as many as you want. Okay, fine. So now I'm just gonna, throttle cut is supposedly on, it's at minus 100.
Remember, your stick is, you're live.
I understand that. See, it says minus 100. Now I'm gonna hold the plane, shut off throttle cut, and test the throttle. Verify it's working. Okay, everything is on. And then rates in Expo, we can set up rates in Expo. I'm gonna set it to switch F, which is the way I normally do this. Now, they have two different setups. They have high and low, which I still quite haven't figured out why they have high and low rates, but instead of having 3 rates. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up one at 5, 10, and I'm gonna set it up because they had what, 50?
Yeah.
I'm torn, guys. I normally don't do what the manual says, but I'm gonna do what the manual says on this. So 30 and 70, because this is a 3D flying plane, okay? Expo at 50? It seems crazy to me. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do 100% rates, and I'm gonna do Expo at 0. So I'm gonna have an off setting, then I'm gonna have like the low rates, and then I'm gonna have my crazy high rates, which really that should be high rates.
Yeah, I would think so. And then you could still do your normal setting in the middle.
Is it raining over there?
No.
Yeah, okay. So this would be the most sensitive sticks, okay? Then this would be like where we want to start, which they're calling low rates. And then that would be high rates? No. I just hate changing from our normal standard setup.
Just do your normal standard.
Let me think on this. All right, so I think what I want to do is I want to have my softest sticks are usually down, okay? So that's the way I set it up. Now, that's not necessarily what they would normally do, but I'm sort of torn between the two settings, okay? So I'm gonna set 30 down here with the rate of 70. That's gonna be my softest sticks. Then I'm gonna set this to the default high rates, okay? And then I'm gonna set the Expo to 50, okay? And then I'm gonna have my crazy mode, which is gonna have no Expo, okay? So it's gonna be 3 rates. That's gonna be crazy, that's gonna be the high rates, that's gonna be the low rates, okay? And that's what we're gonna do. Now, why do I wanna do that? Because I wanna be able to get to the ground, okay? So this gives me the best opportunity to start with at least a factory setting so you guys can see how it works according to what the factory recommendation was. And then we have the lower rates as well, okay? Okay, so that's our crazy rates, then the factory high rates, factory low rates, okay? And we're just setting all of them the same, okay? So there's the crazy rate, and then this will be the factory high rates, and then the factory low rates. Okay. All right, so now that that's done, throttle cut's already been set up, and all the rest of the stuff is basically done. So we would just have to go into forward programming if we can, which I don't know if we can on this model, so we'll see right now. Usually on UMX planes or microplanes, there is no forward programming. It's just the gear switch, okay? Which I'm guessing throttle cut is on. Yeah, you can tell when you flip the gear switch, it goes from one mode to another. okay? But I don't like to have that on the gear switch, so we're gonna make a change. We'll scroll down to system setup, disconnect RF, and we're gonna go into channel assign. Now we know the gear is already attached to A and something is attached to D. We're gonna clear that out. We're gonna clear that out. We're gonna leave the, actually we'll clear these out too because I don't want those to matter. I don't really care if we leave the rotary knob on there. So let's change gear to switch D and then we'll walk back out and figure out what mode's what, okay? So now we're either in AS3X, safe, or something else, okay? So throttle cuts on, just full disclosure. That's obviously in safe. That's AS3X. And I don't know if we're gonna have an offsetting, so it doesn't really make a big difference, but you can still have your flight modes attached to that if you want. So if you go back into forward programming, or excuse me, system setup, disconnect RF, you can make your changes here for flight mode. So then you can have trims attached to each of those different associations. But before we would do that, we can actually just flip the direction because I don't want safe right here, I want AS3X here and then safe down below, okay? That's just a personal preference thing. So I'm gonna go over to reverse and we are gonna reverse gear because gear is commanded by switch D now, but not switch A, okay? So now we can go to monitor mode and we can see what position everything is in. So that's clearly gonna be safe for us now. That's gonna be AS3X and that's gonna be AS3X, which is fine. It closely mimics other planes, which is what I like to do with all my models. Okay, so now I can click and I can scroll down to system setup, disconnect RF, and I can do flight mode setup, and I'm gonna command them by switch D. Then I'm gonna go down to spoken flight, and I can set up this to say AS3X, so I'm gonna cancel. Now I'm gonna scroll in the word AS3X, or the letters AS3X, which stands for Artificial Stabilization 3-axis. So AS3X. Then I'm gonna scroll down and bring up the audio event that corresponds to that same event. Okay, so they're safe. So then we're gonna look for AS3X. Now this one's also gonna be AS3X mode, so we'll just basically mimic the same. Normally I would do an offsetting, but there's not really an offsetting on this particular model because of the way that we call out, we're gonna do AS3X. All right, so then we're gonna do the same and set the audio event. Okay, so now it says AS3X here or there, and now we need to make this one say safe, which is sensor assisted flight envelope. Cancel clears it, so we'll scroll in the letters SAFE and come right back. Sensor assisted flight envelope, now we'll scroll way down again and we'll turn on the audio event corresponding to that switch condition. All right, now we have safe mode, AS3X mode, AS3X mode. Okay, now that's also going to correspond to the different flight modes. So if you have trim adjustments, you can separate your trims. I don't usually have to do that or want to do it, but I just want you to see this is going to closely mimic our normal radio setup. Point the camera so they can see both at the same time, please. And you can see the difference in the light conditions here. Okay. All right, good. So now we have everything set up to where we would normally be. So we got to do our quick check on control surfaces. So elevator up, elevator down, that's in high rates. Roll left, roll right, and then yaw left, yaw right. And you can see high rate versus low rate versus all the way down. Okay, so that's our lowest rates. That's our normal starting mode. And then that's the highest rates. It's kind of strange. It moves a little bit further. It must have something to do with my stick position and the way the expo works. So as you can see the difference in all the control channels all tied to this, okay? So now if you were in safe, you would also see a decline in the amount of movement, okay? So even if you're in the lower rate, and then the crazy mode, Big difference, right? Big difference. Okay, so just keep in mind when you fly this plane or any sort of an Eratix style model, you're gonna have a big difference in the amount of control surface movement, and that is pretty consistent with all 3D models, okay? You need a lot of movement if you're moving at low air speeds. I'm kind of curious about this. This battery is not fully charged, but I just want to see where it balances with this battery just kind of janked on here.
Okay.
Okay. If that's the center of gravity at 76, they don't show it very well in the manual, but that's right where it goes. So maybe that is right. And it's like the hinge point of the wing, which is very unusual if you ask me. Also, checking the direction of correction is sort of something we don't normally have to do on a bind and fly, but we're still gonna try to do it. But we have to give throttle to make sure AS3X is working, so make sure your hand is out of the way, throttle cuts off. I'm gonna give it full throttle, and then throttle cuts back on. Yeah, it's definitely working. As you can see, when I rotate the airplane, look at the rudder. It's resisting, elevator resisting, ailerons resisting as I spin the plane. Now I just wanna see if we have enough power to hover. Even with a dead battery, it feels like it wants to. The only problem is my battery is slipping out of my sleeve.
Oh.
So you guys see my little rinky-dink operation here? So that might need to be tightened up just a little bit. In fact, I've got another one of these. I'll come right back. Okay, so this little piece of shelf liner that I saved for just this very day, it's finally coming in handy.
Great.
Yeah, I knew there was a reason. So I'm assuming that I'll be able to get this battery through, no problem. And of course you could just put the Velcro right on the battery if you were just like a normal person, but I want, okay. So I don't know, it might not let me through.
You might need like half of that piece and then we can save the other little chunk for the next time.
Oh, you think so? Because it looks like what happened is the tape kind of rolled up on itself this time. Did you move that? Or, oh, I'm pulling on it.
You're pushing on it with your...
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to now take this little sleeve that I created and I'm just gonna slide a little bit of the shelf liner in here. Just whatever gets the job done, folks. This is not the only way you can do it, by the way, I guess is my point. So now I can stick this down and see how this works. We'll like kind of wrap those cables. Okay, we'll see how this works. I just want to see if I can hover it right now. Oops, throttle cuts off. It's hard without having my hands on the sticks. Definitely got enough power. Oh yeah. That would be easy if I could just have my hands on the sticks.
Yeah.
My issue is, can I get out of it? I don't want to crash it right away.
I know.
But it's definitely got enough power. It's wanting to pull out of my hands. Okay. So we do know that it would fly in here. It's just, I don't know that I necessarily want to crash it in here.
Right.
Because we need to produce some content with this thing. And it's gonna hurt my soul if we can't do that.
Break it, just testing it.
Well, because, okay, so I'm thinking night vapor, but I don't think the night vapor.
Oh.
See, the issue with the night vapor is it's so slow. I know for a fact I can get it landed, and I know for a fact it's not gonna break.
Right.
This thing is definitely gonna be a little bit more delicate. Even though it's made of foam, like look at all these little pockets.
Yeah.
It would be, if I screwed it up, there wouldn't be a lot of coming back from it. It'd be like, you have to get components on. So with that, you basically have the full radio setup. The only thing I'm not worried about, like timers on a model like this, I might set a timer to a 1 out and set it for 5 minutes, and we'll just see kind of how that works. At 1 minute, I want a voice call out. At 20 seconds, I want nothing, and then I want a voice countdown with a tone and vibrate for expiration with a tone every minute thereafter. And then when I go up over 25% throttle, it's gonna start the timer. You can clear it with cancel. So that's all the basic setup that I wanna do on this model, because really it's gonna be a 3D flyer. You're not gonna be flying it in wind like that, unless of course you're flying it in wind like that inside of a gymnasium.
Right.
Now, if we had our building done right now, it was supposed to be done in July, but it's gonna be November, like next week,
Yeah.
then we could fly it in there almost certainly, because it's gonna be a big open area.
Right.
But I just don't wanna risk it with this thing.
I think if this room was empty,
Yeah, like
it
if
would
you didn't
be
have a bunch
different.
of planes.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned, like if you put this down like too
I know,
rough,
I
it
just
might
don't know.
break. I think we could probably get away with it, but we have to get a feel for it first.
yeah.
So with that, we're gonna leave it at that. We know how to charge batteries. We know how to bind. We know how to set up the radio. There's not that much more going on.
No.
So at this point, there's no thrust reverse to worry about. There shouldn't be anything else specifically that needs to be added to make this work. Now, the only other question that people might have is, are we gonna be able to set up flaperons? And I cannot remember if that's even possible. Throttle cut is on, by the way. System setup, disconnect RF. That'd be aircraft type. Flaperons. I do not think this is gonna work. Okay. So it still works right now. Flap system, we'll just set it to switch B. Yeah, it's moving both of them, so technically that wouldn't work. Because yeah, you can see it's wanting to move both. Okay, so not really surprised by that at all. I know that with the Crescendo, we were able to do that, and I gotta refresh my memory on how to do that, so we'll come right back. Okay, so I went back into my memory bank and I thought of the Crescendo Evo, or except it's the Crescendo UMX,
Yes.
the newest one. So the way you did that is you used, now normally if you were doing this from stock, you'd be using the gear switch, but we already changed it to switch D. So the sticks down and out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know if I did it or not. She's gonna be going
For a while.
So what you have to do is you have to go into system setup. It's supposed to be 5 times. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 full cycle. System setup, disconnect RF. I don't even know if this is gonna work. It doesn't really matter yet. We'll just find out right now. We have to go to aircraft type. So it's not flaperons, it's 1 flap, 1 aileron, okay? Elevator, ailerons. Okay, now we would have to set up flaps. If flaps were gonna work, this is when we would know. So there was no change there. And it's possible I didn't get it switched. So I don't see any change in mode. So we're gonna try one more time, okay? Throttle hold is on. Sticks like this. Oh, I gotta be in high rates. There's full rates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it just did something. You guys see what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm in normal mode. Haha, yes, it did work. So we have flaperons, okay? So it's currently used as spoilerons because I didn't know what direction to go. So if you guys want flaperons, you can set up flaperons on this controller. Okay, so I'm just gonna set it to like, something like this. Okay? Then we got a little bit of movement still. And then takeoff flaps and then normal, okay? Now, the cool thing about this is, let's actually just do 40 and 90. okay? And I'm gonna make the speed 2 seconds. Oh, that's so cool. And we still have all the different settings. We still have AS3X, we still have safe, we have all that crap. So to answer your question, if you want to use flaperons, yes, you can. Now, the other thing is some people will want spoilerons. Honestly, that's going to be for like takeoff and landing for me, or for ultra slow speed flight. Okay. So like for instance, if we were to set up, since these are full length flaperons, which means we have the inboard portion and the outboard portion changing, I'm not sure what direction we're going to need. It just kind of depends on the plane and the airframe. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that, and it is pointing down when we have an absolute value up. Okay, so let's set it to like 6, and then let's do 10. Or 6 and 9, okay? So there's down and then down. Now, if this was an outboard aileron, then you would actually probably want that to go up. But because it covers this portion of the wing, which is the inboard portion where all that wind is coming off of the prop, and just the nature of airplanes, our experience has been that the elevator correction needs to go the same direction as an inboard flap. Because if you have an inboard flap deployed, the plane is going to tend to balloon. And so then you counter that by having the elevator go down just a little bit, or point the nose down, command nose down, okay? That's going to keep you flying flat and level, but at a slower pace with the added drag. And also you do kind of want to change the angle of incidence. You know, you want to change the angle of attack of the plane down just a little bit, because that's what you would do in a real plane. Okay, so as you deploy flaps, then that'd be takeoff flaps and that'd be landing flaps. So it's just a little bit more extreme. That would allow you to fly slower, which is pretty cool. And then the cool thing is, so the other thing you can do is that some people will want to do a special mix called elevator to flap. And you can turn that on with a different switch, okay? So on switch 1, I want nothing. On switch 2, I want it to do something. So let's say we want 50. And then on switch, the third position, which would be switch position 2, then let's say I want like 75. Okay, so now watch what happens. This is going to help actuate the plane, okay? So then it's going to do less of an impact. More of an impact, less of an impact. Okay? So what's happening is you're taking away the flap deflection, or you can just have it more standard. So that is really sweet that we have all that crap mixed in. And by the way, even with that stuff going on, look, I'm gonna full up elevator, you're still gonna have elevator correction, aileron correction, AS3X, and safe, which is pretty incredible. So, what's lacking on this plane? At this point, thrust reverse if you needed it, okay? And also Facebook data centers going over here, that's our running joke. Whenever you charge one of these non-smart packs, and it gets done, it's gonna do this obnoxious cooling fan action. So unplug it as soon as you can, because it is gonna drive you nuts if you're anything like me, okay? So once you unplug it, it establishes that there's no battery to be charged, it will calm back down. So again, micro pH 2S connector, okay? Do you get it? And flaperons. You could do spoilerons, but I don't think spoilerons would make sense in this environment at all. In fact, for most of us, I think flaps are probably unnecessary, but I have never been a proponent of unnecessary means you don't do it. Right?
Right.
Okay. Like building runways in the yard.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary to build one, but we're gonna have two soon.
Not only do we do things that are unnecessary,
well,
we
actually, I
do
have
them
3.
extra.
Yeah. So you're not supposed to do that? Let's do it 3 times.
Yes.
Not just once, not just twice, but 3 times.
Just in case.
So also, if you guys are brand new to the channel and you've never seen one of these smart batteries unpackaged, we might as well just do that quick. We'll just do one of them here. So this is a 300 milliamp hour 2S, and this is coming from Spectrum. So it is packaged nicely. And by the way, if you were curious about the names of these plugs, this is one of the coolest little things. And I point this out every time I see it because I'm like, wow, it's a guide that actually tells you something useful. We get so many of these stupid guides that like tell us nothing useful.
Yeah.
That is the most interesting manual ever. Just gonna hold this. Because then when you go like try to find something, you can tell. That is really handy, okay? So we're gonna just pop this one out of the packaging in the least efficient way possible. And as you can see, that's the way it comes. It's got it taped down like this. Just be careful when you cut this free because it's just like a stretch film. You can usually rip it, but I like to cut it to make it cleaner. And then these batteries do ultimately have a little bit worse shelf life than a smart battery, but you don't have a smart chip. And then make sure when you're ordering from the links in the video description below, if you're ordering one of these batteries and you don't have a charging apparatus like this, we'll link to this. Make sure you order it along with the plane. Because obviously they're not going to include that sort of thing in a plane because not everybody needs to have this adapter and you only need the one adapter. So if you're buying your 14th Ultra Micro that uses micro pH connectors, then you're not going to need yet another one of these adapters. But these adapters are a pain to build. Yes, you can. If you have a crash battery with a 2S balance lead, you can 1 lead at a time separate them, tape them, separate them, tape them, separate them, tape them. This is going to be the hard part to find though, the female pipe. You would have to have a crash plane and then you would have to figure out a way to get this middle lead through, which is easier said than done, okay? This part's pretty straightforward because if you've got a bad battery or something like that, you can just steal it from the battery. And by the way, these pants do break free. If you need to build this yourself, you can pop those off, which is really nice. It's a huge upgrade from the EC3.
Yeah.
The EC3 is way worse than the IC3. The IC3 has the same essential connection, but it's just way better done, okay?
And really you need as many of those as you have charging ports to charge batteries at a time. You know, like we could plug in 4 and charge 4 batteries at once.
Yeah, but you can technically still parallel charge these, but I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you really, really have to, okay? My suggestion with parallel charging on dumb packs, because you can parallel charge dumb batteries, you can technically parallel charge smart batteries, but you have to defeat parts of the circuit that would normally control the charging. So my suggestion, if you don't know what parallel charging is, that would be where you would use a parallel charger similar to what we had in the drawer that I pulled out earlier. It'd be something like this, and you would plug in multiple batteries. I have this used as more of like a quick, you know, just store different types of battery chargers and like a little micro. These are Molex connectors, I think is what that's called. And we can charge from different styles. And then you go to a balance lead, you go to your charger, and then you inject. Just be real careful. If you use this thing and you plug something like this in to something like that, okay, this dead shorts some of the pins. So if you plug that in and you leave this plugged into your balance apparatus, which you can technically do. So I'm gonna give you an example. I've done this one time and it only took me one time to learn not to ever do it again. So yes, you can technically plug this into an XT60. It's not like super easy and I wouldn't recommend it on a routine basis, especially on a charging apparatus, but you could plug that in there and then you would plug this into the corresponding plug, which is 2S. That makes a dead short. So if you plug a 3S into this, it will start catching on fire, even with it disconnected, okay? Because you're gonna dead short your 3S pack. If you plug in a 6S, it's gonna dead short 2 of the pins going to here, okay?
So having it plugged in like that basically makes it like a live, like if you plug something else in it.
Yep.
Okay.
So be careful with that.
Yeah, I would not know
And that's the thing. This would be like a balance charger for a bunch of dumb batteries. Like if you had 3 batteries that were like this Arrows pack 3300, you'd plug it in here and then you would plug this in here to the corresponding balance lead. I haven't done this for years, okay? And then you would be able to plug in a second consistent condition, similarly discharged battery to this port and that port and that port and that port and that port until such a time as you could then plug this into the charger and you would charge, but you would actually add your capacity together. So if you had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, you could charge that at like a lot of current because you'd be charging a lot of battery. This would be a kind of an unusual battery to be charged in parallel, in my opinion. I would normally be using, you know, like small 2200s or small batteries. Like these things are just flopping around all over the place.
They are. Just everywhere, like
every time I
like rabbits.
Yeah, it's like,
more
oh,
of
there's
them.
another one. So at the end of the day, here on Brian Phillips RC, we hope that we're bringing value to you as you watch these videos, not just because we want to show you all the different complexities of all these different operations, but in fact, let's charge this battery. We want you to know how to do it and have the aptitude to be able to do it in a way that's not only safe, but efficient, and you've learned the things you need to learn. That's at 4.08 and 4.01. So also, I'm going to charge this a little faster just to show you that it'll be safe. 0.9. I'm going to charge that at 0.9. Why do I come up with 0.9? Because this is a 300 milliamp hour, so 0.3 amps. And this claims to be a 30C pack. You can see the 30C there. So on a normal 30C pack, let's find a 30C pack. Like this one's a 30C pack. It's going to give you a max charge rate of about 6.6 amps or 2.2 times approximately 3. So 10C being equivalent, the discharge at 10C is equivalent to a 1C charge rate max. In my opinion, in my expectation, based on many, many years of screwing around with these. However, also based on many, many years of screwing around with this stuff, I have learned that the C rating is one of the largest things lied about within the RC industry because it is not really based on anything. It's based on marketing gimmicks. Oh, and by the way, one other thing too, if you're considering battery considerations, this would be a smart circuit out of a dead, killed battery. This battery management system actually manages, charges and discharges each of the individual cells using that microcontroller. And it's going to basically take power from the main lead and it's going to share it to whichever cell needs it until such a time as they reach a certain point, and then it is going to bleed off power by consuming it with a resistive load. And it's going to do it fairly quick and it's going to get hot. So if you ever grab your battery, this not being a smart battery, you don't have to worry about it. On this little area, if it's too small for one of those circuits to go, you won't find a smart battery, okay? And that's why we know this one's not smart, because it's not big enough to support the actual chip, and not so much the chip, but the board, the assembly, if you will. But this one is also not a smart battery. How do you know? Because it only has 2 wires and it has a balance lead. So it's not just Gen 1. If you don't have a data lead in there on an IC2, then you don't have a smart battery, okay? So do we have a smart battery that's like that? I think we do.
Should have.
I thought we did too. Oh, well, we could go to this one. This, you can tell it's an 850, and you can tell because you can sort of see where they've
Where that
They've
chip
got
is.
that little chunk for the board, okay? But you can also tell by the data lead. If you have the data lead, then you have a smart battery.
That's about as small as they get, I think, in this smart. That's about the smallest one that can accommodate right now.
Because when we got the Micro Draco and the Micro, what's the jet I'm thinking of? We've got 2 big ones and the small one.
The F86.
F86, yeah, ultra micro. I think we were hoping that we could get a smart battery in that size, but it just didn't turn out to be that size.
Can't do that yet.
Okay, so if we haven't answered your questions, you're not watching the whole video. And so my suggestion is if you're brand new in the hobby and you need help, you're in the right place here on Brian Phillips RC. We are gonna help you, but we can only help you if you watch the whole thing, okay? There's lots of content that flows from this brain to yours when you watch a video like this. And it's not like I'm the only guy that knows this stuff, but I'm one of the only ones that's gonna elaborate in such great detail on every single video that I've ever filmed, which gets annoying for people that watch all the same content from Brian Phillips RC. So hopefully we have struck the balance between totally boring you to death. If you survive this video, then get out there and fly. And what's the best way to get out there and fly? by buying little planes, big planes alike, helicopters, quads, VTOLs, whatever we're reviewing, transmitters, and all the accessories that support these activities from Brian Phillips by following the links in the video description below. That's the #1 way you can support us. Shortly thereafter would be smashing the like button, clicking the bell when you do subscribe to Brian Phillips RC so you get notified of all the new RC content, just like this Eratix Ultra Micro from E-flite. Good job, looks cool, can't wait to fly it. It's kind of killing me that we can't just go out there right now and throw it out there. But in the wind being more than 3 miles an hour, what do they suggest? 5.
Yep.
5 miles an hour is what they're recommending in the manual, okay?
Yep, we're
That's pretty
definitely
slow.
over that.
We are way over it.
Yep.
Oh, other ways to support us. Patreon for monthly support, YouTube members for monthly support, YouTube super thanks for one-time donations, and PayPal if you don't want to be part of any of those groups, you can do that too. Just remember, we're friends and family, because who wants to give them fees? I certainly don't.
Nope.
I don't think you do either. And if you want a refund on your donation, then you can do that. But I don't really quite understand why you would want a refund on your donation.
You're not getting anything. We're not giving anything back.
You're not getting anything.
You don't get your time back.
You get nothing. So, but if you want some help, that's what we do, okay? So that comes free here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're watching the most recent Brian Phillips RC video. We don't really care which platform. We actually don't really care what airplane you like. We just know that you're gonna like at least one of them because you're watching this video right now. So definitely, when you smash the like button, remember, you're not voting for an awesome product. You're voting for a really good video. And that does help so that they will feed the audience what they want. And that is people on YouTube, people on Facebook, people on Instagram, people on TikTok, wherever you're watching this right now. So if you smash the like button, you will help others to spread the joy of the hobby, okay? So we appreciate you doing that, and all those other ways too that we mentioned. Again, if you don't like the Eratix and you wanna see the bigger Eratix that we did a while ago, all you have to do is look no further than BrianPhillipsRC.com. They'll be sorted by type, whether it's by affiliate or by the style of airplane, whether it be a 3D or a general aviation or an EDF jet, or maybe at some point turbine jets, maybe some point full scale, or it's a helicopter, or it's a scale helicopter, or it's a 3D helicopter, that sort of thing, sport helicopter. You can sort by types, and Camera Crew is going to work on that helicopter thing I just said. Because whenever I think of it, then these things happen. But behind the scenes, the Camera Crew is making everything organized and easy to find and keeping up to date. Okay, so you can find a video about the other product you want, or you can buy it. There's usually like a thing that says like shop or like preferred battery. And then of course, it's gonna take you to a playlist for this very plane or that very helicopter or airplane, whatever it happens to be you're wanting to see, okay? So if we helped you wet your whistle, smash the like button, leave the comments down below so we can hear about your story, your personal experience. And just keep in mind, there are many different choices, all of which are gonna get you in the air, but some of which are gonna keep you in the air longer and give you a better experience. We're gonna help you sort through the plethora of those here on Brian Phillips RC, because not everybody has 500 of them sitting in the basement, okay? We understand that is unusual, and it's good, unusual, but also a little bit more work than you probably would realize. Hence, building this little dinky structure over here. Did we already point that out in this video? That little dinky structure, just so that we can store stuff, because my wife wants her house back.
Yes, she does.
And it would be kind of nice to have, maybe like one room without 400 planes in it.
Yes, it would.
I do love airplanes a lot, you may have noticed. And helicopters too. And VTOLs, quads, all that stuff. But really, what we love the most is growing a hobby and helping you guys, okay? So if we've helped you, leave it in the comments. We appreciate the encouragement. All right, that's all we got for you on this video. The Eratix from E-flite, very cool. You've already seen it fly, but future Brian says it was awesome. He thinks. And I am really excited that this supported the flaperons. That makes me happy. Even though we probably will forget to use them.
Probably.
Nah, we'll use it because I want to see this thing fly slow. So I am super excited for this. And if you guys are too, check out links in the video description below. All right, that's all we got for you. So much more from Brian Phillips, RC, right around the corner. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.